Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito in studio today, sitting alongside John Kovac and Kevin Coleman. I want to thank both of you guys for picking up some of the slack last week. I'm very happy to be back and excited for the spring season, but we've still got a little bit of winter hanging around with us here.
That one hockey game left?
One hockey game, and we didn't get the dream rematch we wanted here, Kevin.
We did not. It's unfortunate. New Canaan had such a great year, just ran into a hot Richfield team in the FCAC final, and then it fell short against Northwest Catholic in the semifinal of states. And it's tough. This is a very good New Canaan team who we've talked about it many times is deserving to be in the final, but it looks like it won't be this year.
Go ahead.
I think they hurt themselves sometimes, and from everything I'm hearing, they kind of hurt themselves a little bit in the semifinal the other night.
It was another situation, and not to just go off here with a pun, but to be frank about it, New Canaan shot themselves in the foot way too many times this season. There's no other way to spin it. Silly mistakes killed them. Bad penalties killed them. And what shocked us about it, John and Kevin, is that it was a team premised on their experience. You've got so many seniors on this roster, and they're seniors and juniors that have played a lot. For these kind of mistakes to slow them down, and really what separated them from being, potentially the FCAC champion, the number one team in the state, it's disappointing for the Rams the way it all ended.
Almost inexplicable, because generally when you have a senior-laden team and an experienced senior-laden team, and there's a difference. We've seen a senior-laden team where those seniors didn't get a lot of ice time on the varsity. New Canaan's not the case there, so it kind of surprised me.
And that's similar to the Darien team we saw this year. And in no way is this a knock on Northwest Catholic, Kevin, because the Lions showed up and they played a great game. Sorensen in net was phenomenal. He had over 35 saves, all 18 of them coming in the third period when the Rams outshot Northwest Catholic 18-1. But in the end, I think New Canaan just couldn't overcome all the obstacles they had to face.
You're right, and John, said it really well. This is a New Canaan team that did make some mistakes, and you said it going to the third period. It was 5-1 in a way. It was almost draining for New Canaan. But Frank, you talked about that dream matchup. For the state, I think this is the dream matchup to have Northwest Catholic sitting at 1, playing Richfield at number 2. It's the 1 versus the 2. At the end of the day, this is also a great matchup. But for FCAC reasons, yes, I fully agree. But I think
for our sake here and for what we could have possibly been wearing on the show tomorrow, I think we lose out on a dream matchup. But a lot of people all season long have said, how good is Northwest Catholic? They're finishing ahead of Richfield. Is Richfield really the best team? This is a great way to settle this winter season across the board.
It truly is. This is, if you're down in the southwestern corner of the state like we are, you're talking Ridgefield, FCAC hockey. We all down here dreamt of an all-FCAC final with a fourth meeting between Ridgefield and New Canaan. We didn't get that, but you know what? For hockey and for the state of Connecticut, we got what we need, because you've got the two teams that have been 1-2 all year. Let's settle it on the ice.
The Rams lose 6-3 to Northwest Catholic in that first game. It was 18 seconds into the game that the Lions strike first. The pairing of Hayes and Morris try to go D to D at the point, and it's an errant pass. Morris can't control it. Breakaway at the opposite end. There's a mad scramble, delay penalty in front of the net. Ultimately, the Lions come away with that 1-0 lead. Gunnar Granito would score later in the period to tie it. And then, John, the wheels really fall off at the end of the first. There's 90 seconds to play. Northwest Catholic scores 2 goals in under 20 seconds.
And we have talked so often about how those late period goals are momentum killers. And you went there from a tie game, you give up the 2 quick, and all of a sudden you're looking at 13 shots, 8 saves, and 5 goals by the end of the second period.
Cal Squara for the Lions, Kevin, had 35 saves in the game. But one thing about the Rams, and Dave Stewart from the New Canaan Advertiser was at the game, John. He's been telling us a little bit of the information. Talked about how New Canaan didn't get a lot of great shots, quality shots on net. You got to get to those tough areas of the ice. Get yourself to the slot and challenge the goalie. Squara made 35 saves, but not a lot of them had to be on top of his head.
And I think we saw that a couple of times in New Canaan this season, how they're definitely a team that likes to crash the net. We saw it in the FCAC tournament, especially against Greenwich, that game we covered, and then against Stanford West. So we saw them do that to them as well in the FCAC tournament. This is a team that really likes to crash the net. They have speedy guys up front who can get to the net and put shots on. But again, maybe some of them aren't exactly as high percentage, and that's why you didn't see them tuck away as many goals.
Very disappointing for the Rams because they have to rebuild a lot now moving forward. And I know it's way too early to start thinking about next season for New Canaan. They're still sort of mourning this loss here, but you lose a lot of talent. You lose 2 senior goalies, and your top scorers. You got Hill is gone, Morris is gone, who just won Defenseman of the Year in Connecticut. There's a lot of rebuilding to be done here for New Canaan, and I mentioned Peter Windus is leaving. John, he struggled in that semifinal game, and rebound control an issue again for the Rams.
And that was where you had to fear that they would get hurt if you were a fan of the New Canaan Rams. You knew that rebound control was a weak spot for them, and I think it went as bad as it could go Friday night. Talking about the shots, to get back to that, and I'll throw a soccer term in here, Kevin, because Frank loves it when we talk soccer.
Go to break.
But everything I'm hearing from Dave Stewart, who was at the game, and things that we saw in other games when we covered New Canaan, there was no creativity with the finish. You have to be creative sometime. It was either come in some of the games we saw, and shoot over the goalie's head. In this case, Friday night, from what Dave Stewart said, all of the shots were right into the chest protector.
I fully agree, and not to stump on you, Frank, but I look at, to bring up soccer, I think, in similarities, soccer and hockey have that same similarity where they're both almost like a chess match. And you have to play into your opponent's, weaknesses and their strengths. And I think New Canaan just had a little bit of trouble, playing into Northwest's disadvantages and advantages. And Northwest Catholic really did a great job of, putting the puck in the net. Maybe, New Canaan outshot them, but at the end of the day, you tuck away 6 goals over 3 for New Canaan, and that's the line score for the final.
And that was a good term to use. It is a chess match, absolutely. And I've got another thought here. Before that, you talk about the shots. Bo Hickey, former coach of the Rams for many years, from '94 through 2013, would always say to his players, "It's a lot easier to move your arms than it is your legs. Why are you shooting up high?" And similar to soccer, I think there's that mentality of, if you're throwing pucks or balls towards the net, you're trying to create a shot that, if you don't think you can score, it's not a high percentage shot, you want to rebound. You want to force that goalie to make a save that he's not controlling, and there's an extra opportunity coming to the net. And the Rams, a lot of times this year, John, denied themselves those second chance opportunities, and it's ultimately why they're watching this game tonight from the stands and not on the bench.
How many times did we watch breakaways and the shot go high over the goalie's head?
Every kid in America wants to shoot crossbar down these days. It's
where Mama hides the Thin Mints.
There you go, right?
You want to make that water bottle move.
Exactly, and it's unfortunate that is the mentality, but you want to. This is something that my former teammates and I, hockey players and I, love to watch. You watch an NHL hockey game, the professionals, the way they manipulate goalies' 5-holes, and it is so underappreciated amongst young hockey players who all think, "Oh, I got to go crossbar down. I got to crossbar down." Very rarely in the NHL are they going crossbar down unless it's the perfect shot off a perfect opportunity.
And that's the point I'm trying to make with New Canaan. I don't know that there were too many times that we saw New Canaan breakaway with some of the, toe drag stop or go to the other side or that extra pass. It was all break in and shoot, and there wasn't any attempt to get the goalie moving one way and shoot back across.
So Northwest Catholic onto the championship game. They awaited the winner of the second semifinal. That was Ridgefield and West Haven. It was 1-1 going into the third period of this game. And for me, you maybe got the thought that Ridgefield a little shocked after the huge comeback against Fairfield Prep, and they get to the semis, that Xavier wasn't waiting there for him. I think everyone's mindset was, we're going to see Xavier again. It's another one of those matches. We split the season series with them. We got to find a way to win it. All of a sudden, the Westies from West Haven waiting there. Maybe they take it a little lightly in the first 2 periods. They're caught a little off guard. Ultimately, though, they pour in 4 unanswered in the thirds, cruise to a 5-1 win. the depth scoring again. It was Jack Stafford this game giving 2 goals. Sean Keegan so strong again. You've got interesting matchups now heading into this championship. And before we look at that, let's talk about the depth of Ridgefield because Jack McGeary scored, Stafford with 2. Charlie Luft had a goal, Priscilla had a goal, and the assist rack on and on. It's a very talented, and again, we've talked about all year, a very dangerous Tigers team top to bottom, Kevin.
It is. And if you remember, going back to the FCAC final, that game was tied as well. And what happened? Ridgefield poured on 3 goals. And, it's sort of similar to what happened against West Haven. Ridgefield came out in that third period, and I'd love to know what Sean Gallagher had to say during that intermission break, just to know, he probably told his team to, you got to wake up. And they woke up. They scored 4 unanswered goals, like you mentioned, Frank. And, Sean Keegan's, again, coming up with some big-time saves for the Ridgefield Tigers.
They're so deep. They're so deep that really anybody on the first 3, even you could stretch it to 4 lines, could have an impact. We saw that Friday night. That's what got them through the FCAC. That's what won them the FCAC championship. And I think that's going to be key tonight is to see how their depth matches up with Northwest Catholic.
And it's not just the first 3 lines. You're talking about all 3 pairs of defensemen as well. McGeary scores on the first goal. Chuma gets the assist. They like to use Chuma on the power play in front of the net. You get that big body there for traffic, screening the goaltender. He picks up rebounds. They're very talented. Sean Keegan's going about his business again. I know it's only 19 saves. It doesn't look like it's that much, but you hold West Haven to 1 goal in the semifinals. You're doing your job. One player on Northwest Catholic who really stood out, John, Ryan Sherba. He was given a lot of space and ice and time to manipulate against the Rams' defense. How does he match up against Ridgefield? Do they give him that kind of an opportunity? And if so, does that really kill the Tigers in this one?
I don't think they'll let him move that much. I think they will blanket him. They can cover you by skating. They can chase you down from behind. And they can muscle you off of the puck. They can do all of those things defensively, and they've done them well. I think they'll be prepared to shut him down.
An obvious choice for the impact player tonight has got to be Sean Keegan's. So I won't ask you who's your impact player. Let me ask this. How many saves do you think Sean Keegan's has to make tonight for Ridgefield to win the state championship?
More than 19, definitely. I think, this is a defense, with McGeary and Chuma, who I've loved watching. Those 2 pairings on the defense have been so good for the Tigers. They needed, and something else that they've done really well is that they're blocking shots. And I think that's why you're not seeing many pucks hit Keegan's as many times, because you're seeing them, get down, block shots, move into the offensive end. But again, Keegan's has to come up with more than 19 saves in order for them to take home the state title.
Do you have an impact player you think makes a difference tonight?
I think Chuma could be an impact player. I think if Chuma can hit a couple from the point, and if Chuma can play shutdown defense, which we think he can, I think that could be huge.
I was giving you the opportunity to say Cullinan, but now I get to say him again.
You get to say him.
I'm going to stick with him. He scored the game-winning goal in the FCAC championship, scored the OT goal against Fairfield Prep. I'm going with Nick Cullinan tonight. I think he puts in the goal that wins Ridgefield the state championship in their first ever Division I championship game. That game is at 7 o'clock tonight, and it's up at Ingalls Rink on the campus of Yale University. John, thanks for coming along. You're going to step out now. Donald Ang will join Kevin and I when we get back. We're going to look back at Mohegan Sun Arena and Championship Weekend in Connecticut Hoops after this on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Get a fresh start to the new year by shaking up your meal routine. Walter Stewart's Market is your local source for a delicious selection of fresh and convenient salad shakers, like Southwest salad with chicken, Cobb with organic chicken, Power Vegan with fruit and quinoa, Greek salad with tabbouleh, and grilled shrimp with hominy. Grab one from our salad case or order from our deli today. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
While there's still a bite out on the water, most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning free-form pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on the HAN Network, joined by Donald Eng now as we look at championship weekend from Mohegan Sun Arena in boys and girls basketball around Connecticut. We had 2 FCIAC teams still in action. Let's start in Class XL for the girls. The Trumbull Eagles falling at the hands of New London, 42-36. A disappointing end to what was one of the best seasons we've seen in a long time and arguably one of the best seasons in Trumbull basketball history. We were looking through this game this morning. Don't kick things.
Sorry.
We were looking through the game this morning, Don, and we broke down a couple of different ways in which, we thought Trumbull kind of fell short. For me, there's the long gap from the third through the fourth quarter. They don't score. You mentioned how Claudia Tucci fouling out, offensive rebounding. What, in your mind, was the biggest one, though, that really separated this game?
I think it was New London's strength inside. 28 points in the paint for the Whalers versus only 14 for the Eagles. And this game also, it seemed like it was close, but New London 9 of 19 free throw shooting. So in the fourth quarter, as Trumbull was trying to come back, New London was really helping him out. Not great free throw shooting by New London, and finally, as I mentioned, just to stick with the theme of interior strength for New London, it was 13 offensive rebounds for New London versus Trumbull had 21 defensive rebounds. So more than a third of the time when a shot came off the rim, New London was able to grab it.
And as Don mentioned, the opportunities were there. 9 of 19 free throw shooting is asking Trumbull to come back and take this game over. But Kevin, they go from a minute 41 remaining in the fourth quarter to a minute 36 remaining a minute 41 in the third to a minute 36 remaining in the fourth, that they don't score a single point.
That's not how you win a championship game, unfortunately. But having Coach Steve Chobish on the show on Thursday, we got a chance to talk to him and ask him, how he's preparing for this game and, what's the mindset. And I think, going to Mohegan Sun is intimidating for teams. And when you finally get there, you get to play on that court where some NBA teams have played on, some WNBA teams have played on. It's intimidating for any high school team to go and play. And, those rims aren't always as friendly as we've seen. But listen, this is a Trumbull team that has a lot to be proud of. And New London, considering going 9 of 19, Don, not making foul shots, we've seen all across the board in boys and girls basketball this year. That really hurts teams. And Trumbull, again, holding them to 42 points is outstanding. And if you look at their tournament in the FCIAC and the state tournament, they held teams to less than 40 points. The defense is there. It's just, some nights you can't find the hoop, and it's unfortunate that Claudia Tucci in her senior year has to go down in the state championship game. But bringing home an FCIAC title is still a lot to be proud of. And
you're right, because obviously teams do not get there very often. We saw Greenwich and Stanford play last year, and maybe the FCIAC's a little spoiled, but this is the first time since 2002 that Trumbull is playing at Mohegan Sun in a championship game. So the nerves are certainly a factor there. And give credit again to the Eagles defense, as you mentioned. They held them to 42. Unfortunately, though, 36 points is not going to win you a championship game.
Well, no, and you mentioned that some nights the shots just don't fall, and that also could be a factor of the arena. It's a lot different shooting in an arena versus in a gym. Trumbull, in the second half, when they were trying to come back against New London, only shooting 2 of 9 on three-point shots, so 22%, 30% for the game, total field goals. Trumbull shot 6 of 17 in the first half, 6 of 23 in the second. So clearly just not a good shooting night at the worst possible time.
We talked about where this season ranks. They finished the year overall a record of 26-2, including the playoffs. They win an FCIAC championship, first state championship appearance since 2002. Is this the best season we've seen from the Trumbull Eagles?
I think so. Up until now, yeah. I think they have a lot to look forward to. This is a team, this is a roster that...
You bring back some big talent now with Keckler and McGuire both coming back. There's a lot of experience there to those two now, and they've got players coming off the bench as well who can help contribute. So I agree. The ceiling is very high moving forward, but to this point in time, through this year, would this rank as the #1 season in Trumbull basketball?
I think so. I think, this is a very talented roster, and they have a great coach in Coach Tobish. I think he's done a great job of rebuilding this program for the Trumbull Eagles. And it's, like you said, the ceiling is high for this girls program. It's they're going to have success down the road.
Trumbull, not the only FCIAC team in action on the boys' side. We had the Trinity Catholic Crusaders. They took home the Class S state championship on Saturday. We're going to hear more about that after the break when we're joined by their senior captain, Peter Galgano, on Nutmeg Sports, coming up next on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the spring clearance event and Ram Truck Month, now through March 31st.
Have a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Basketball, hockey, skiing, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's the In-Sports Athletic Functional Movement Assessment Program.
A program that uses a camera, the same camera that you use with an Xbox video game.
What it involves is 3 phases. One is the initial test, which will give you a very objective and lengthy assessment of how you are moving and where there may be imbalances.
Once test gets the results from the assessment, we'll develop a customized program for the individual.
The objective really to try to get as many young athletes through this program as possible.
We told Dad he could have his office back if he sold 150 cars last month.
Deal's a deal.
Well, Dad, you did it. You get your office back.
Forget it. I'm having too much fun down here. My new goal, 160 cars. Wow. Folks, if you ever wanted a great price on a new Nissan, now is the time.
Right now, lease a 2017 Altima 2.5S for only $99 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter, and I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office. I'm John Kovat.
Back on the HAN network, and we are happy to welcome to the program now one of the captains of the Trinity Catholic Crusaders state champion basketball teams. That is Peter Galgano. Pete, thank you so much for taking time with us today. Congratulations,
Thank you.
first of all. Take us through Saturday night. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. It's just nobody can really it's crazy. Nobody's really taken it in yet. Like, it still hasn't hit a lot of us. Like, the experience is great.
Now, Peter, going to Mohegan Sun itself can be a little intimidating for any, for boys and girls basketball. Take us through that bus ride up to Mohegan Sun. What's it like on that bus ride with you and your teammates?
It's just so much anticipation, and like when we got there and we seen all the lights, it was like everybody just got their phone out and started taking pictures because we never seen something like that before.
It was like that scene in Hoosiers with the gym and the.
That's right.
Yeah, And what's that like? Yeah, so you come out now. Had you been to the arena before? I mean, it's because
No.
It's not especially big, but the stands stack up right on top of you.
Yeah. It's just like the first time seeing it, I was just surprised. Like, I'd never been there before, never been played in an arena like that before, so it was just surprising. Everything was surprising.
Now, Pete, you guys lost in the first round of the FCX championship. It was a tough game against Wilton. What was your message to the team as a captain heading into the state tournament?
Just make sure we finish all our games because, we gave that game away a little bit. So we made sure in practice that practice as hard as we can. No days off, no possessions off, none of that. We had to do anything we can to win.
Now, Pete, the last 2 years, Trinity 9-11 2 years ago, 11-9 last year. Was there anything that indicated to you that these Crusaders were about to go on a historic season here and win a state championship?
Yes, I think it all started in fall. We worked out together all fall, and we won the fall ball, and then we knew what we could do. So heading into the season, we had an idea.
We just had a great photo of you and Coach Mike Walsh. What's it like having him as a coach, throughout your basketball career at Trinity Catholic?
I mean, it's amazing. Like, he brought me here my junior year, and this is the best experience I've ever had. And he's a legend, so it's amazing.
Now at the end of that championship game, right before the buzzer sounds, you had a little bit of trouble there inbounding the ball. You dribbled through a couple defenders. Once the horn sounds, what's that feeling like winning a championship?
It's just like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, the first thing I want to do is just like hug my teammates, like just ransom. I don't even the feeling is just like indescribable, to be honest.
And you talk about your teammates. Your two forwards, the big guys down low, play such a big role. Dimitri Moyes and Dutrail Contavio. How important were they this year to the team's success?
Huge. They get rebounds, they block shots, they score. So they were huge help. We wouldn't be able to win without them.
But it's no disrespect to the backcourt because you guys have got some phenomenal guards. Pete, you were the only senior really in that top five. What role did you play on the court? Because you didn't always have to do the majority of the scoring for the squad.
Yeah, just trying to be a leader, trying to do all the dirty work, get my teammates the ball when they need it, and stuff like that. Just really trying to be a leader.
Now, Pete, one of the things that we talk about on this show a lot, Trinity Catholic, a very small school playing in the FCAC against teams with about 4 or 5 times your enrollment sometimes. Trinity is essentially, you basically go 5 deep. I mean, of your starters, 3 of you guys played 32 minutes. You played 26, and then Dimitri played 30. So what kind of mindset is that when you take the court, you know that you're probably playing the whole game, you can't get in foul trouble. Does it change the way you have to play as a team going up against teams that have a lot more depth?
Yeah, it definitely does because we know we can't make stupid mistakes because we only go 5, 6 deep, so we have to do anything we can to stay in the court.
Now you guys outscored Westbrook in the paint 36-16. Again, going back to the talent of Dimitri Moyes and Contavio, what's it like playing with them? And take us through that game especially. Are you really trying to feed them down low in the paint?
Yeah, well, almost every game this season we had a mismatch down low, so we try to do everything we can to get the ball inside because when we get the ball inside, it opens up for the guards. So that's what we try to do from the beginning of that game.
Pete, this is the 7th championship in program history, but it's your first since 2011. How significant is it to the legacy of this program? And
it's great because we brought it back. Like, we brought it back with Coach Walsh. We brought it back with Trinity, and like the school is just excited. Everybody's excited.
And you guys have really left a legacy moving forward now. You have a lot of young players on this team, and the standard has been set very high. We understand, Pete, you're looking at prep schools right now. We want to wish you the best of luck with that. We hope you find the right fit, and we're really excited to see you at the next level when you make your way to the collegiate level.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, congratulations again, Pete, and we'll talk to you soon. Good luck today.
Thank you.
That was Peter Galgano, one of the captains from the Trinity Catholic Crusaders team. And Don, you brought up a great point there, talking about the depth of Trinity, the lack of depth, of Trinity. But all the times we saw the Crusaders this year, they're very disciplined. They don't get into foul trouble. They play such great team basketball, and they do a tremendous job of their conditioning and being able to run for those full 48 minutes.
So let's go back to that Trumbull game we did on the network a couple weeks ago, and they beat Trumbull at Trumbull, and that's a game that, going into this thing, a lot of people didn't expect them to win that game at Trumbull, and Trumbull was playing great basketball at that time. They really just outplayed them the entire game. From 4 quarters, they were the better team than Trumbull, and it just goes to show that the depth is it's not necessarily there, but those 5 or 6 guys can really get it done for Trinity, and boy, they got it done in the Class S final. So
and that's one of the things you mentioned, that getting it done. When you watch this Trinity Catholic team play over the year, it almost like, when you watch it, it's almost like, they just seem to be trying harder than their opposition, is just kind of the impression I got.
If you look at it, going back to the first part of the season, they lost to New Canaan. And this is a Trinity Catholic team that looked like they didn't quite know their identity yet. They really flipped a switch, and I think that game against Trumbull, like I just mentioned, really changed their complete attitude and their way of going for the rest of the season.
They were a preseason favorite by many to win the FCX championship. They had built the team up that this was going to be the year they could have a lot of success, run into that special, I think that's the right word, special Wilton team in the first round of the tournament. I think in the long run, Don, losing in the first round of FCX actually is a blessing in disguise for this Trinity team. It gives them a little bit of time to get rested up for the state tournament. They're able to regroup, and it allows Coach Walsh the time to explain how tough this run is going to be, what they're going to have to do. Lets the seniors, the captains, the leaders of this team, let the boys know we're far from being done. And at the end of the day, they're the last FCX team that's standing across the state.
Well, they really were. And the other thing about losing in the first round, not only do you get the rest, but as you mentioned, you get the practice. When you're advancing in a tournament, you just naturally have to focus your practice on your next opponent. As far as Trinity goes, not knowing who they were going to play for a while, again, it was back to just almost like a preseason. You have almost like another training camp. It's fundamentals and just working on your conditioning and just getting ready to play. So I think that really did, in hindsight, help them out a lot.
It was a lot of fun to get to watch them, and we want to congratulate the Crusaders again. Their 7th program, the program's 7th state championship title as they take down Saybrook. Don, we did a little preview of the hockey game tonight on the first block. You weren't here for it. It is the last game of the Connecticut winter season. Northwest Catholic #1, Ridgefield #2. Who do you like in that one?
I think you have to take Ridgefield. I mean, it just they've been the top team in the state all year. I mean, Northwest Catholic is the #1 seed, but it's just kind of a consensus that Ridgefield is the best team. They're a little bit deeper, probably better, a little bit better skating team also. I would be surprised if Ridgefield doesn't bring this game home, and I think it's really it probably is in my mind a 2 or 3 goal game.
I forgot to grab the Go Tigers flag for you, but I'll let you wave the towel tomorrow, I promise.
That's all right. Well, let's not jinx anything yet, okay? It's going to be a great game, 1 versus 2. I expect Ridgefield to really bring it and Northwest Catholic to really bring it. And look, our director, Eric.
Shorted it.
Eric, you got to make
you better come get it now.
Off the rim.
He's going down the floor. That game tonight at 7 o'clock, #1 Northwest Catholic and #2 Ridgefield. You know who Kevin's rooting for. Good luck tonight, Tigers.
I think Kevin might be embarrassing his school right now.
No way. Eric did a great job. You see the hustle there. He brings the towel out, being a team player.
It's the kind of hustle. And that's how you get to the dirty areas. Get to the front of the net tonight. That's where you score goals. Good luck to Ridgefield. We're back tomorrow on the HAN Network with Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock. We'll see you there.